The 10 billion mark is critical, right? Because when you get to that point, I would say two big things happen. The interchange caps with the Durbin Amendment becomes a factor. Okay, so you start losing opportunities from revenue from the Durbin Amendment change. The other part of it is expenses significantly increase on the regulatory side, more oversight, more cost, more sophistication. I would say it's like going from high school sports to Division I in many ways, right? So a lot of times things get faster, they get tougher and more expensive. So if I'm a bank teetering on that 10 million in asset size, many times you're trying to just shoot right over that, leapfrog it to be able to scale it in a way where you can absorb that hit. Some banks try to avoid it at all costs. So they might linger around that sub 10 billion mark, which is hard to manage because you do grow over time unless you scale your strategy a little bit differently. But again, I think the cost that comes with that $10 billion growth, that asset size, you talk to any bank out there that has been at that level, that cost, it's going to end up surpassing that process where it makes sense to just sit at 10 billion. So a lot of these banks shoot to that 15 billion dollar mark so they can expand that revenue source to be able to, in a growth, to be able to absorb some of that cost. And that's really just what it comes down to. And again, I go back to the regulatory pressure. There's a lot more pressure at that point because at that point, you're a larger bank. You cross over that $10 billion asset mark, and it becomes a much stickier process where typically in that community sense, you're touching many other areas. So your stability is much more important to the communities you serve as well.
So because of the increased costs involved with being a bank that is bigger than 10 billion in assets, and because of the reduction in revenue from the Durbin change at 10 billion, there's actually no point being a bank of like 10.1 billion because you're going to be making less money than if you were a bank of 9.9. And so you really have to get to that 12 or that 15 to make it worthwhile.
Exactly.